What's up, guys? Suk here with another Starfield video talking about what I'm excited for and what I'm worried about and think you guys should know going into Starfield. So before we get into that, I'm giving away a Starfield premium digital version for Steam. So if you would like to join in and have a chance to own that or win that or whatever you want to call it, watch the end of the video and I will let you know what you need to do to win it. So first thing I'm excited for is we have a new Bethesda single player game. Honestly, I shouldn't have to, sell that point too much. Every single Bethesda single player game I've ever played was one of the best games I've ever played. That being said, I never finished Morrowind, blah, blah, blah. Some people care, whatever. I played a ton of them. They're my favorite game developer, enough to where I'm so excited that I made a freaking YouTube channel about it. So there's that. There's number one. It'll be great. There's no doubt about it. Number two, we have making and customizing a spaceship, let alone blowing pirates to smithereens in said ship. I'm really pumped to make a spaceship. I don't know how much you'll be able to make whatever design you want. They were like, oh, mechs and platypuses and all that nonsense. I'm just pumped to make a ship and make it as efficient as possible, make it go fast and blow stuff up well and whatnot. But the one thing I'm really curious about is just how can we customize the inside of it? Like the dishes in the sink, there are posters on the wall and just a bunch of like cool little neat stuff like that make it feel lived in, that give it that NASA punk vibe, right? But I'm wondering, will each of those modules just come with junk inside, whatever you want to call it? Or will we be able to actually place those, and how will that work? That's one thing I'm pretty curious about. Three, for things I'm excited, figuring out what the hell is going on with the main story of the game. This is one thing that I've just been pondering for years now, and I'm sure all you guys have as well. I think we have a pretty good guess in our Starfield secret or main story secret video. The only thing I could add to that is that each one of these artifact sites almost seem like they're going to be like Skyrim word walls, where if you interact with them, you suck in the power or whatever, and that's how we get each one of our powers. Obviously, we didn't know there were really powers until the Starfield Direct, so just kind of throwing that in there if you want to watch that video. I think it's pretty on point. I could add a couple more little ideas, maybe like an alien galactic conquest at the end of the game. If anyone's ever played Star Wars Battlefront, it might be something like that, like a mix between that and the Skyrim Civil War. Take it how you want it, whatever. But Pete Hines says this is going to be Bethesda's best main story ever. If like Oblivion was electric, and if it's anything better than that, we are truly in for it. And speaking of a new game plus, what for a BGS game? What does that even mean? What does that mean for the story? And why does Pete Hines say that the game doesn't really start until you finish the story? A lot of things to ponder, and one of the real reasons why I'm just so curious to find out what's going on. They've been talking about it and hyping it up so much. Oh, the answers to everything and this, that, and the other thing. If that doesn't make you excited, I don't know what will. Or we have side quests. One of my favorite part of BGS games is getting sidetracked while trying to do the main story. All of a sudden you find yourself in a complete other crazy, zany adventure. And before you know it, who knows literally what you're doing. I think that's one of the things that makes BGS games very unique. And one of the things I'm really excited for. There's always a main story, but you don't really have to do it. You could just run around and do side quests. You could run around, basically do whatever you want. So that is exciting. 4, I just said that. 5, speaking of side quests, I'm very curious to see how in-depth the companions are in this game. He said that they've jacked up the companions big time since Fallout 4. Everyone really loved the companions. They're supposed to be the best companions ever and supposedly react to many things in the game. I'm pumped to see this upgrade and pumped to see how much will they actually react, and what is that new romance system like? What is that? I don't know. It's probably just a couple little things that they added, but still it seems exciting. 6, jetpacks. I love jetpacks. From Fallout 4 to Oblivion, any chance I get to jump way too high, I take immediately. I'm a sucker for the acrobatic skill in Oblivion and will not stop jumping. Sometimes I go back in the game literally just to jump around. So the equation jetpacks plus low gravity equals a ton of fun. 7, the major cities. I'm very curious to see how big they actually feel. They've been doing a lot of talking about how these cities are the biggest cities they've ever made. Now, does that mean New Atlantis is bigger than Boston in Fallout 4? No, I don't think so. But it seems like they will be very large, and I think the thing I'm hoping is that they're not just using the Disney park style like angling effects to make the city feel big, kind of like how Outer Worlds did with that city on the ship. I remember seeing the promos thinking that was just some giant like steampunk cyber whatever like steampunk slash neon type looking city, and just it ended up not being big. As soon as you get past those signs that are all angled in that way, it's like, oh, this really isn't that big. So I think that's one thing I'm just curious to see how they feel, how large the cities actually feel. And it seems like we could go up into a lot of the skyscrapers and stuff. It seems like there'll be some penthouses and things you could purchase. So I think we're in good hands here. Number 8, we have the procedural systems. I'm very excited to see these new systems and what they have in store for us. Will it feel like BGS hand plays content, or will it feel like the Endless Brotherhood or Thieves Guild quests in Skyrim? Most likely somewhere in the middle. I'm sure we'll be able to tell when it's randomly generated. But the idea of randomly generated structures and people sending you to randomly generated dungeons, I mean, that's exciting. As long as every building and every dungeon doesn't look too similar, I think we're in good hands there. That being said, I'm pretty sure there'll all be like abandoned science buildings or abandoned outposts or whatever, and it sends you to some cave somewhere. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. Honestly, I played Oblivion for the first time a couple years ago, and not that I didn't notice that they all looked the same, I just accepted it really easily and still had a ton of fun. So I think if there's a good balance of I want to say uniqueness, but there's a good balance of like making it feel fresh, even with the same assets. Maybe I think we're good. All right, 9. We have sound design. There should be no doubts that this game's sound design will be amazing. The soundtrack from Ivan sounds absolutely unreal so far, and all the noises from the thrusters boosting to your boots clanking on the ship floor, they sound way too good. I can't wait to walk over the lip of some dune, to see an almost endless desert, just to have the music crescendo and send chills down my spine. 10. I'm very excited to look around the solar system. From Mercury to Pluto, I'm excited to explore and see what's actually out there. We've seen a bunch of very quick shots from all over the system, and they've been getting me. I just keep saying exciting too much, but that's just how I feel. From finding the Mars Curiosity rover to bioluminescent mushroom caves underneath Mercury, there's a ton of crazy stuff I'm sure we're gonna find, from Easter eggs to just beautiful vistas and just like the feeling of being on Europa or whatever you're on and just looking around and, oh my God, that's Jupiter, that's Saturn, what have you. It's just like, that's going to be very exciting for someone that likes science and likes sci-fi and whatnot. Now for things I'm worried about with the game. I'm worried about how space travel will feel. Is grab jumping everywhere and not having the ability to manually land actually going to feel good? Like, I get it. It'll probably be annoying to manually land after the first couple times and like, oh my God, this is so cool, whatever. But not actually having the ability to do that for the be-all, end-all of space games, it's pretty disappointing if I had to be completely honest. And are we going to be able to fly freely within the star systems, or are we going to be bounded around each planet? Like, some things that I'm pretty curious about. Phil Spencer did mention that he play tested the game doing a lot of like BGS style challenges, and one of them was he played for a long time not landing on any planets, aka just roaming from space station to derelict ship, etc. And he said it was still a ton of fun. So even if we can only fly closely around each planet, there are 1,000 planets, so that's still a ton of area to buzz around in and come into random encounters. But something that just bugs me about that, is it really the be all end all of space games if you can't fly your own ship? Whatever. Number 2, I'm worried about the random encounters. The procedural systems they put in place might feel too similar or too procedural. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but how often will they be placed on a planet? If we roam in a straight line for an hour or so, how many abandoned posts will we find? And how many will have missions? And how similar will they look? A couple things that are kind of nagging me. Number 3, I'm worried and I'm almost positive that we won't be able to kill everyone we meet. This may seem like an insane thing to say, but having an option is what makes games feel like New Vegas actually feel really good. Just knowing you have the freedom to make those decisions makes them a lot more powerful. Like if you weren't able to make those decisions at all, it kind of you kind of just feel locked in, you know? It doesn't really feel that much of like a simulated world. It almost feels more like a game, which I don't know, a lot of these people that play this, I don't want to say it's more of a simulation, but I think we play it because we like to make those decisions and see how the world reacts to it. If the world doesn't react and Preston Garvey just sits down for a minute and stands back up like nothing happened, it really takes you out of the game. That was one thing that was super frustrating in Fallout 4. They just sit down. It's like, what are you doing? Like, come on. I know it makes the game writing a lot more difficult, but that's what makes the games that much better, right? Number 4, I'm a little worried that we're not going to have actual trade routes in the game. How cool would it be if we could have someone from one of our settlements on one of our stolen or bought freighters, however you want to get your freighter, and have them send the resources you collect at that base and trade them with one of the cities or one of the non-player owned settlements. I think that'd be really cool. And an even cooler little, I guess, layer to that mechanic would be if it's not a safe trade route, you could send someone in an attack ship or a gunship, whatever you want to call it, and defend that trade route while they're on it. Or you could just add turrets to the freighter and add a couple more people in there. I think that's a really interesting way to do it. And I think that it would make just like expanding your net of like resource gathering and settlements and whatnot. I think it would make that really worth it and bring in money and make customizing your spaceship that much easier and I guess rewarding, I would say. And that takes us to number 5. Also in that same type of business aspect, I'm worried we won't be able to start our own business. This may be asking too much from the game, but I always felt like the options to be a normal person in BGS games were lacking. The ideas were there in Skyrim with the cutting of wood, farming, smithing, and now fishing, but they don't feel very fleshed out. It seems like something you would just do for 5 minutes, right? It would be awesome if you could buy a building in town somewhere and open up a shop to sell those items you collect. Maybe people come in and haggle. Or maybe you could get a cart and wheel it around and sell to people / businesses. Just ideas for people that want to sim rather than quest in these games. And I think that'll end it for things that I'm really worried about. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say in what you're excited about and what you're worried about. And I guess that brings us to the giveaway. I'm giving a Starfield Premium Digital Edition on Steam away. So if you would like to have a chance to win that, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel publicly so I can see you actually did it, and comment whatever you want on the video. Comment that you subscribed and comment what you're excited about and what you're worried about. And I think that'll end it there. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say, and I figured why not give away. And I think we're going to do the giveaway tomorrow on stream. I will be streaming it on Twitch, maybe on YouTube, probably not on YouTube. I don't want to look like a fool setting it up for the first time. Maybe I'll do it. Who knows? We'll see how you guys react on in the comments. But no matter what, I'll be streaming the game tomorrow. I'm very excited to play it, obviously. There's some things nagging me. I just feel like I had to get out here and start a conversation with you guys about. A couple of them are pretty dumb, I know. Not like that dumb, but like they're not going to be in the game. Shouldn't be worried about it. They've never been really in BGS games before, but things that I feel like would make this game really the be-all, end-all of space games and whatnot. I could go rattling on for ages, but I think we'll just end it there. I'm very excited to hear what you guys have to say. Please subscribe for more Starfield stuff. I will be playing the game and basically going through all of these points and whatever points come at me during my gameplay. And I will be doing a Starfield review whenever I can. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the giveaway.